I think Mr. Tumnus vibes is something we all ought to shoot for in 2025. Welcome back to Privy. Privy is a podcast about bathrooms, recorded from my home bathroom. I'm your host, Hunter Hoover, and I love bathrooms. Welcome back, everyone. Thank you for being here. Happy Privy Christmas. This is our second episode of the season. We hope that your holiday cheer, your logs have been festive, your sprays have been holly and jolly. And yeah, we're just kicking off. You know, we tried something different last time. We did our Mr. Hanky special. If you haven't listened to our Mr. Hanky special for the year, go back, listen to the last episode. It was an interesting time. You know, we're trying new stuff, trying this format of the watch along. We'll see. If you like the watch along, let me know. Maybe we'll do it again. But there's a hustle and bustle this season, you know, and I really feel like Privy Christmas snuck up on us this year, and I blame Thanksgiving for being so late. As of the point of this record, I still have not decked the exterior halls. The inside, you know, our inside halls are fully decked. I've decked my halls so hard inside, but outside they remain but undecked. Part of that is just the hustle and bustle, and part of it has just been wet and cold. It's not been opportune. And so we're trying to get into the holiday season and celebrate. And here on Privy, for our celebration of Privy Christmas, we always take a yearly look at Mr. Hanky's exciting adventures in South Park. And as I noted, we did that last time. You can go listen to that episode. But the other thing that we like to do every year is we like to take a little pause and explore some of the stranger Christmas traditions from around the world. And while there seems to be no shortage of strange Christmas traditions, we aren't necessarily concerned with why people are decorating trees with spiders, which is a thing, or why some cultures have Christmas witches, which is also real, or why in some cases Santa seems to have strange ne'er-do-well counterparts. Here on Privy, those are interesting, and those perhaps are maybe their own show, maybe a bonus episode. But here on Privy, we are specifically concerned with those strange Christmas traditions that are concerned with the bathroom or find themselves in many ways very bathroom adjacent. These are the bathroom adjacent Christmas traditions around the world. And you know, the funny thing is here, you know, it's weird. You would think that the list of things that are both A, Christmas related, and B, like, deal directly with the bathroom or poop would be an incredibly short list. But as we've seen in years past, and as we are going to continue to see this year, it's not. You would hope that those Venn diagram circles don't overlap, but it turns out they do in some pretty big ways. In years past, we've discussed everything from little men who sneak into the nativity scene to moon everyone and take a dump behind the stable, to a log that poops gifts, looking at you, T.O. Daydenall, to people stashing a Christmas fish in the bathtub, and the psychedelic qualities of reindeer urine. We've been there and we've talked about so many things here on Privy Christmas. And I want to give you guys a little candid honesty here for a second. Every year as Privy Christmas rolls around, I start to wonder, am I going to find it? Like, is the bathroom magic going to happen for this holiday season? Am I going to be able to find the weird bathroom related thing to talk about? And sometimes, like, I think maybe this year is the one where we're going to have to come up with something else to do for the Christmas season. I mean, There's only so many stories and so many myths and so many folk tales that both deal with Christmas and the bathroom, right? Like, how many? There's only a few, right? Right, guys? But I want you to know that though one day that might be in our future as a part of our traditions on the show, I'm here to tell you that it is not this year. This year, we found another one. And this year, we need to talk about the Calicantzaros. Maybe you are like me, and you are fully into your adulthood, and you've never heard the term, let alone the idea of anything called a Calicantszaro. The way the Calicantszaro are described, or I believe they're called Calicantzaroi, if there's more than one, it's one of those fun fish and fish are plural. Well, this is Calicantzaros and Calicantzaroi. But the way these are described and the way their name depicts them are two very different things. The name Calicantzaros is somewhat debated in its origin and where it comes from. One less believed theory is that it comes from the Greek kalos and centauros or kentauros, meaning a beautiful centaur. Based on this description, you would think these would be some handsome and beautiful four-legged humanoid creatures. And if a centaur is beautiful, is it the horse part of the centaur that is beautiful, or is it the human part? Also, are there women centaurs? I feel like every time I see any like Harry Potter or like Narnia, you always read about male centaurs. Maybe the women centaurs are called something else. I don't know. But there's people out there just screaming that this idiot, you fool. But they're described as beautiful centaurs if this is the meaning of Calicantzaros. We digress. But the origin of the name is usually contested, and it's usually believed that it comes more from the Turkish Karakonjalos. This literally means black or dark bloodsucker. What did he say? And as such, many have even taken them to have a werewolf or vampiric tendency. Now, I promise, listener, I know I teased Christmas witches at the top of the show. I promise we are not getting ready to do Christmas vampires or Christmas werewolves, although might not be the worst idea for our festive holiday season. Either way, the picture I have in my brain, whether it comes from Calicantzaros, the Greek, or Karakonjalos, the Turkish, the picture that I have in my brain when I hear those words and the definitions of those words and I begin to read about them, and the ones others have put into art and drawings are nothing like a centaur or vampire. Like both of those translations, beautiful centaur or, black or dark bloodsucker, as we begin to describe these creatures, you're going to hear that neither of those descriptions is fitting. And we have strayed far from the course if this is how we want to portray them. The thing is, what these things look like, what the Calicantzaros look like, is not exactly agreed on. Primarily because these creatures are part of the solstice or Christmas season celebrations and traditions throughout much of Europe and Anatolia, also known as Asia Minor. Because they are a part of such a wide variety of cultures' solstice traditions and myths and folklore, the stories about them and the descriptions of them and the origins that they derive from are going to vary as often as the culture varies. The appearance of the Calicantzaros differs and varies between the Greeks that draw these little holiday weirdos, showing them to have kind of like animal parts. They have like hair and horse legs and boar tusks. And they're honestly like kind of faunish looking. They're giving big Mr. Tumnus vibes. You know, I think on the regular, I think if you rolled up to me, on any given Wednesday or Thursday, and you just rando foundo me, you would find that I give probably level 2 to level 4 Mr. Tumnus vibes. I aspire to give people Mr. Tumnus vibes. I think Mr. Tumnus vibes is something we all ought to shoot for in 2025. There's a person, there's what I want to say. A person could do much worse than Mr. Tumnus. I'm just going to say it. And to be giving off the Mr. Tumnus whole just shtick, like, oh look, I'm a pranciful little goat man that lives in the rocks. Like, it's not the worst thing. It's better than the like casually homeless sitch that I usually got going on. You know what I'm saying? But yeah, big Mr. Tumnus going on here. Maybe that's what Mr. Tumnus really is. Maybe the Narnia story does take place around Christmas. Maybe Mr. Tumnus was a Kalikanzaros. Fan theory. Some cultures depict the Kalikanzaros as huge, towering monsters. Others depict them as small, tiny, little impish creatures that sneak into your home. Some say that they are really just small humans and are depicted as such and are usually depicted as being primarily male. Others say that the Kalikanzaros have body parts that are normal size and others that are misproportioned to the rest of the body. You know, you got little Dougie Kalikanzaros. He's totally normal, except for he's got like a rat-sized body and like a Machamp from Pokemon-sized arm. And that's right where his tail is. He's got a flippin' muscle arm just scorpioning out his butthole. Not the butthole. It's the tail. I don't know. The tail doesn't come out. Does the tail come out the butthole? How related is the tail to the butthole? It's for another day. Others depict the Kalikanzaros as small, black, demon-looking humans with long tails. In many stories, they eat vermin. They stink. They smell real bad. They're blind, and they are said to spend their days sitting underneath the earth. Now, I want to note the primary sources and the primary tales about the Kalikanzaros come to us from Greek folklore. And in these stories, the Greeks believe that the Kalikanzaros live underground, where they spend their days, day in and day out, sawing on the trunk of the world's tree that holds the earth in place. They're chaotic. They want to destroy the earth. You know, classic Greek earth goblins. And to do so, they spend 353 days of the year sawing on a big old tree. We got to rip this guy. Kachika. Oh, that was a good one. Felt that one. You know, maybe if I'm back to the orange vanilla. You know, maybe if we just gave all the Kalikanzaros in the world just an orange vanilla polar seltzer, maybe they'd chill out on the world's tree. Really just muffin the world's tree. Do y'all remember the 12 days of Christmas? Well, it turns out that those days are a bit sinister than we thought. And to really appreciate the heart of the Kalikanzaros, we have to know a little bit about the 12 days of Christmas. The 12 days of Christmas is a song about gift giving. And the 12 days of Christmas extends from Christmas Day, December 25th, all the way to January 6th. I know. Spooky, right? For those who are, or it runs from the birth of Jesus Christ to the Epiphany of the Three Kings Day on January 6th. And what I want to say is, For all of those people that are triggered that my tree is still up in January, I want you to hear this. Take that. The 12 days of Christmas run December 25th to January 6th. It is totally acceptable to have your Christmas tree up in January. Now, did I have my Christmas tree up in November? Yes, of course. Did I have my Christmas tree up before Thanksgiving this year? Yes, of course. Was it because Thanksgiving was so late this year? Absolutely not. I would have anyway. So let the record show. I'm not sitting here hiding it. It is totally acceptable, and I would argue ought to be normal to have your festive holiday Christmas tree up for at least 2 months. Should be normal. Enjoy it. Now I got a Christmas fake, and I know all the people out there, they're going to be like, oh, you need to have a real tree, or it's not a real Christmas tree. Well, here I have a couple things to say to you. Saving money, not lighting my house on fire. My allergies are a little bit better. So I got a Christmas fake. It's great. It's pre-lit. I plug and play, and everybody's happy. It's all good. And it can be up for 2 months. I don't have to buy a replacement tree halfway through. But these 12 days of Christmas in the song, the days are kept alive through gift giving and singing. And see the Grinch's note on this. But the 12 days of Christmas really, you're getting a bunch of strange gifts. Like, truly, they're wild. But these 12 days of Christmas are the days where the Kalikanzaros are allowed to come up from out of the earth's depths to wreak havoc on the people up topside. Nothing says Merry Christmas or Joyous Festivus or a whatever holiday like a bottom-dwelling Greek hobgoblin coming to the Earth's surface to a real tricky surprise on you. And this happens on Christmas Day, usually right after they've spent all year trying to saw through the trunk of the Earth tree. They're allowed to come topside and as a result, step away from their work for a little time. Take a little rest. The Kalikanzaros have earned a rest. They've been trying to destroy the world for 353 days, and they get 12 days off, dang it. And they're going to use them. While on the earth, we really get to the heart of why we need to talk about these dudes on the show. Much like jolly old Saint Nick, I'm sure he isn't mad at me anymore. Like, Santa and I are good now, right? We had a real good talk. Santa and I had a good chat a couple years ago, and Mrs. Claus, she set the record straight on a lot of things last year. It was good. It was good. And things are going great up north. And the goblins sneak their way into a home after, on Christmas Day, through open windows, doors, or in some cases, sneaking down chimneys. The real question is not worth thinking about is who did it first? Like, who was the first one to slide their backside down somebody's chimney? You know what I'm saying? That's what the kids are calling it these days. But it's not as important to worry about if the Kalikanzaros did it first or if Santa did it first. Really, what we ought to be wondering is who does it better. And then if they can find a way into your home, the Kalikanzaros are going to pull all sorts of nasty tricks on you. Some are simple things like getting into the sweets, snacking down all my Oreos, and dogging down my ice creams. Little runts, little pieces of mother. Oh, if I catch a Kalikanzaros just elbow deep in a bag of any of my checks or goodies, I'm gonna feed them to my dog. Like, my dog's dumb and she won't eat them, but I will attempt it. I will attempt it. They sneak down the chimney and eat my sweets. But yeah, Santa's the problem. They'll get into all sorts of mischief. They steal things. They'll move stuff. They'll move your keys. They'll just grab your keys and take them from one area to another and just hide them. Just pure chaos, so you can't find stuff. Some reports say that the Kalikanzaros will, quote, just lie. And if they're lying to you, that would presume that you are interacting and interfacing with these strange folklorish mythical creatures. Some reports, again, say they're lying. Other reports have them tormenting you. Serving you, like stuff that is just tormenting to the soul, like serving you tea instead of coffee, or giving you a brown sugar cinnamon Pop-Tart when you asked for mixed berry or strawberry, or like taking the TP off the roller and setting it just out of arm's reach on the floor. Taking the bathroom, the Calicant Zaros are going to yank the bathroom mat anywhere in the months of November, December, January, or February. Here's the deal. And I know I got a little bit on this last week, but in the months of November to February, there must be a bath mat below the toilet. There must be. You have to keep the dogs warm. If you get up in the middle of the night and to shotgun splatter the bowl, you got to keep the dogs warm. Torment, the term, the Calicant Zaros are going to torment me. That idea seems a little too vague. But none of those reasons are why we're here. What puts these Christmas goblins as the star of our episode is some of the antics they get up to are very bathroom related. One of the reports tells of the Calicant Zaros, quote, peeing into your drinks and urinating into your holiday cooking. So that sucks. You know, if I walk in the kitchen and I got a little hobgoblin just got his wiener out peeing into my soup, I'm going to be very upset. And that's just the start. Imagine, if you will, put on your imaginary little thinker cap here. Instead of Santa, jolly old Saint Nick on Christmas Day, and for 12 days following, you had a small, impish goblin sneaking in, takes a fat leak in your Christmas stew or whatever you got brewing. Where did this come from? Like, who sat down and said, yeah, and they steal your keys. Oh, that's good. Oh, and sometimes they'll lie to you. Oh, that's great. Oh, and I know, let's have them take a fat wee right into the Christmas dinner. No, Dave. For goodness sakes, Dave. Every time we pitch a new folklore idea, they don't have to pee something. You know, they don't have to pee or poop. It's fine. Like, was people's bakes and sweets randomly coming smelling out like urine mid-Christmas? And they're like, I don't know what happened. It really smells like pee. Like, my fruitcake really smells like somebody Team Rocket blasted off a fat urine stream into it. I bet it was, oh gosh. I bet it was those rascally Calicant Zaroi, right, guys? Yeah. I don't suck at baking. It's probably those guys, right, guys? You guys seen them. You've heard. This is the least of it. Much like Santa depositing a lump of coal into a bad kid's stocking, which nowadays, that could be worth something, first of all. That coal could be worth something. But these guys, the Calicant Zaroi, are just dropping a fatty in the sack. Fatty in the sack. TM, 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 TM. Name of me every time I go camping. Fatty in the sack. And I know I've joked a few times about Santa leaving a little special brown bag deluxe in the bad kids' stockings. But it's a joke. Like, Santa, if you're listening, and I know you're listening, it's literally in the song. He hears you when you're sleeping. You know what, actually, Santa, can you chill the frick out? I don't want you hearing me when I'm sleeping. First of all, I know I fart. Second of all, I mouth breathe. So, like, don't listen to that. Like, and don't look at me. Don't look at me, Santa. You sick freak. Santa, I'm sorry. You're a very nice man. Your wife's nicer, but you're a very nice man. But, like, don't poop in the bad kids' stockings. Even though the bad kids don't respect their parents and they have vape at school and they call their teacher the F word, don't poop in their stockings. Like, I know that it would be totally warranted and it would make perfect sense to drop the fattest stack in the bad kids' stockings. Like, I know that if a person did that, they would be totally justified. They would be celebrated. But even though it in all senses of the idea, all the bad kids having fat turds dumped into their stockings sounds good, we should not do it. So Yeah. Santa, leave the stocking stuffing to the Greek Christmas goblins. This is truly deviant. They pop up, they ruin your food, they defecate all over your Christmas cheer and make the place smell weird. What a bunch of jerks. Should be noted, there's a number of different types of Kalikantzaroi. One, the Katachanas, can't stop eating. They're just Pac-Man gobbling up all your food. They can't get enough eats, anything in sight, and they stink while they do it. It's like they eat and they're farting while they do it. The Magaras have a big fat drum-like belly that leaves terrible filthy smells all over people's food. They're just ripping ham. They're just fully passing beef all over your food. You've heard of pink eye? If these guys got a hold of your pillows, you have pink eye for sure, 100%. The Mantracukos, the chief, stocky, short-legged, clumsy, ugly, and dangerous to no one. He hides away all day and night and goes out and teases women. He's kind of a pig, you know. He's kind of a man-ho. You know, like, he needs to chill out. He needs to take a cold shower, a little polar plunge to chill him out. Next is the Kosamasides. These are all types of Kalikantzaroi, by the way. Kopsamasides is like a lame hunchback with a weakness for pancakes and honey. This sounds like my type of dude. Like, just describe me in my mid-60s. Hunchback with a mean desire for pancakes and honey. Heck, I'm halfway there now. Sign me up. This guy and I could hang. If this guy wants to come on over, pancakes and honey, worst case scenario, I got to make extra. The Malaperta, if housewives forget to make sure lids are on pans, the Malaperta will grab that chance to urinate all over what's cooking. So cover your cooking, ladies. Men, but it says ladies, it says housewives. So Calavalonis is quoted as being as, quote, long as a string of macaroni. He has a tail that ends in an arrow and can pass through keyholes, sieves, and colander holes. He is extremely agile and fast in his movements. Peroritus has a long, soft nose like an elephant. He shows up shortly before the rooster crows and has a talent of mimicking people's voices. He's over here just doing impressions at 3 a.m. Just an absolute annoying son of a gun. Katsipediris, or Megas Kalikantzaros, is a goat-foot, and he's the boss. He's vicious, miserable, rude, lazy, and bald with goat's legs. Not a pretty picture. He is the one that people picture when they think of Kalikantzaroi. One of them looks like a big old frog. One of them has weird, like, bottom teeth that hang over his lips. He likes to make fun of priests, so that's kind of fun. And these delineations seems kind of senseless and more just like they're variants on the same thing. But yeah. The two to watch out for are the ones that are peeping. There's a peeper in there, you know what I'm saying? But the ones that are peeing and pooping all over your food, maybe the one that's going to fart in your Cheerios, like, you don't want him around. You keep him out here. The good news, though, is the Kalikantzzaros, they only wreck this havoc for the 12 days of Christmas. That is because on January 6th, they are forced via the sunlight somehow to return to the center of the earth, where they will have to start anew on sawing down the world tree. And spoiler alert, in those 12 days off, the world tree has repaired itself and it's back to normal. That's good. I suppose 12 days of stinky Christmas is a small price to pay to save the world. But just as these little fart goblins exist in myth, as with all unwanted mythical and folklore creatures, there's always a way to ward them off and keep them at bay. This year, if you're worried about the Kalikantzzaros taking a fat deuce in your stocking or farting all over your breakfast cereal, here's some ways to keep them away from your home. The first is you can set a colander on your doorstep. Pretty smart, right? The reason that you want to set a colander on your doorstep is not so you don't look like a crazed mushroom-smoking lunatic. It's because the goblins you see, the Kalikantzzaros, they can't count past the number 2. And so when they see the colander, how many holes does a colander have? 1, 2. Oh, sweet Lord in heaven, what do? I've hit a number that I can't utter. it should be noted, it's not that the Kali-Kantzaros don't understand the concept of a number past 2. They understand that the numbers go past 2. Rather, because the number 3 is viewed as holy, they believe that to utter the number would be to doom themselves to destruction. So yeah, colanders are a big line of defense here. You can paint a black cross on your doorstep, though I doubt this is part of the Greek culture, maybe part of the later Christianized or maybe Greek Orthodox defense against these little crap goblins. Burning a smelly shoe in the fire or burning something stinky in your fire pit to keep them from coming in. This method is noted, ties these creatures to the later idea of the Norse Yule and Yule log and Yule tide. They don't like the sun and run away and hide when it comes out. Seems pretty easy to defeat. Like, keep your stews covered and check your stocking before you just go elbow deep into it. How do they count past 2 to stay above ground for the 12 days of Christmas? Maybe it's a movement of the sun thing, kind of how my dog knows it's Sunday, even though she can't count. It should also be noted, many cultures have a variant of these goblins. In Serbian folklore, they're called the Karakonza, where it'll jump on the back of citizens walking in the dark on the 12 days of Christmas and hitch a ride to wherever the person's going to go. They do not treat adulterers well either. They do not like adulterers. In Bulgaria, they are more demonic and seem to come out any time of the year. As such, they have customs called the kukeri to scare them away. In Albania, these are undead, zombie goblins, zomblins, who move about in January and clang about in iron chains. To me, this is sounding a lot like the ghost of Christmas past, in the thing. Oh, and by the way, if your kid was born on one of those 12 days, the 12 days of Christmas, or if your kid was born on Saturday, they could possibly become a Kali-Kantzaros. Born on Saturday. I've been making that joke for a while, and it turns out it has some standing in this culture. These 12 days of Christmas perhaps would be better off as the 12 days of Kali-Kantzaros. On the 12th day of creepy goblin Christmas, my enemies gave to me 12 quarts of pea soup, 11 months of sawing, 10 stinky goblins, 9 origin stories, 8 hours of darkness, 7 honey pancakes, 6 stolen candies, 5 stocking turds, 4 small black crosses, 3 scary numbers, 2 stinky fire shoes, and a colander on my doorstep. Just a thought. Maybe a regional variant. But what's the connection? How does this sneak into the solstice in the Christmas culture? If only we had a large man who was also proficient at sneaking into people's houses, who also liked to leave things behind, who could give the Kali-Kantzaroi a purpose and maybe give them a means by which they can do good, such as making toys or taking care of the reindeer. And he could give them a place to live where there is less sun, maybe one of the, poles of the earth somewhere. And perhaps while they're there, they could live under an ice cave or wherever the elves live. I mean, Kali-Kantzaroi. Did I say that out loud? Next time you set up your elf on a shelf, think about it being a goblin on a noblin. You know what I'm saying? There's nothing great that rhymes with goblin. I shot my shot. We do all sorts of things here. But with this theory in mind, do the idea of Christmas elves possibly have some ties to the Kali-Kantzaroi, the Greek turd goblins of Greek Christmas? That'll bring us to the end of another episode of Privy. Thank you guys so much for being here. As always, don't forget to leave us a rating or review. The 5-star options are preferred. You can leave that review on Apple Podcasts or Spotify Podcasts. For every rating and review you leave, we'll donate some money to the Wounded Warriors and Living Water International as a reminder to keep pooping in the free world. This free world was not always free. And there are parts of our world who have less access to clean water than we do. As a reminder to pursue cleaner water for all. You can send us an email, privycast@gmail.com. Follow us on social media at privycast on all social media. You can follow me. I'm at Owlet7. If you're bold and daring, you can follow Randy Bowles at Randy Bowles on Instagram to check out those Randy Bowles. Send us episode suggestions, comments, feedbacks, concern if you want to be a part of the show. If you have something you want to pitch, if you have your own podcast and you want to do a little tradesy swapsy, I would love to have you on Privy. Shoot me an email, privycast@gmail.com. We'd love to hear from you. This brings us to the end of another episode of Privy. Thanks to Kevin and Poddington and all of the other places that we got our cool sound effects and intro and outro songs. You can check them out in the ding dong below. Go look at those. Thank you all for being here. Keep pooping in the free world. Own your stank. Wash your butthole. And now, as always, don't forget to flush.